Have you ever wondered what the best nutritional protocol is for entrepreneurs, business owners, and high achievers? There is a protocol for it to get in the best shape of your life, optimize your health, and perform at the highest level every single day so that you can grow your business and obviously feel amazing. There are certain nutritional tricks which all of my clients follow. In this video, I'm actually going to share with you a lesson taken from my coaching area. It's a full video on the end of the first week of a total nutritional deep dive. By the end of this video, you should understand the basics and foundational principles of nutrition and losing weight, losing body fat as a high performer, business owner, and entrepreneur. You can skip this video, but I can almost guarantee you will continue running yourself into the ground, spinning your wheels, not too sure what to do in regards to your nutrition while you're trying to get in the best shape of your life, while you are running your business. I know for a fact you are someone who's tried loads of different diets or restrictive eating protocols, whether it's keto, intermittent fasting, etc., but it isn't actually synchronizing and cohesively fitting into your busy schedule as a business owner. So this is actually exclusive content I'm going to be giving you today because, as I said, this is usually just for my one-to-one clients who I work with very closely to be able to get these results I have just explained to you. So I know for a fact you'll be getting a lot of key insights in this video about your nutrition and being able to get these results. Welcome to the end of the first week of the nutrition. In this video, we're going to do a bit of a summary and a bit of a deep dive into exactly what you've been taught over the last 7 days, because I know there's been a lot discussed and you've been given the exact step-by-step system you need to follow for the first few days to optimize your nutrition and get yourself on the journey to actually losing body fat, if that's your goal, of course, actually understanding how nutrition is going to work with your high performance entrepreneurial business owner lifestyle. So let's get into it. First day, we discussed food journaling. So tracking your food and beverage intake provides an honest picture of your eating habits. And you might be someone who hates counting calories, for example. You might be someone who has counted calories before and it hasn't worked for you. Or maybe you're someone who's never counted calories and you're someone who has relied on meal plans or just eating healthy. Well, have you ever actually realized why you haven't been able to lose fat or why you haven't actually been able to get to your goal? Usually what I found with most of my clients, it's because they've never actually properly tracked their calories. And when I say properly, I mean tracked everything religiously, as I've put here, tracking everything religiously for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, a minimum of twice a week. And the reason for that is I understand that you're really busy. You do not need to be tracking your calories every single day for the rest of your life. That's not going to be sustainable. But the reason why the first 2 weeks is crucial is so it gives us a long enough time frame to understand what your calorie consumption is. We can then manipulate your results to then formulate a plan which is going to work for you in the future. And that'll come over the next few days in terms of your lessons as well. So to summarize what I've said there, track your food and beverage intake, everything for the first 2 weeks. And then after the first 2 weeks, that's when we can drop it to around twice per week, ideally, if not more. Obviously, it's one of those where the more accurate you want to be, the more accurate results you want to get, then of course you can track every single day if you want to. I've been there and done that, but I understand that you might be busy and you're not able to do that. So what are the common outcomes? Realization that eating habits are as expected and discovery of areas for improvement. That pretty much just links to what I've just said before. So you'll understand exactly what your current eating habits are, and you'll see if you're actually over-consuming, as the majority of people are. They don't realize how much food they actually eat, if you're being accurate, of course. So the action steps of the first day were to download the Macros First app, which is essentially just a tracking app to track your calories. You don't have to use Macros First. You could use MyFitnessPal, for example, or any of the other ones. It's just Macros First seem to synchronize really well with our coaching software. And as I've said before, you want to log, weigh, and measure your food. And the reason why it matters, as I just mentioned, and as I did on the lesson on the first day, is understand your true eating habits to make an informed, positive change towards your goal. So that was the first day, was food journaling. So the second day was tracking your intake. That was actually getting to the point where you're going to start tracking. So the key points from this day were focusing on consistency without drastic changes initially. The first few weeks are essentially to get a summary of your current eating habits, as opposed to actually all of a sudden changing everything and making sure that you're eating everything healthily and making sure everything's towards your goal. It's more just to get it to grips of what you have been eating. So again, focus on consistency without drastic changes initially. And then track everything you eat and drink to gather data for sustainable changes, as I mentioned before. We're using simple methods. This could be pen and paper or smartphone apps like Macro First, as I mentioned before, or MyFitnessPal, and taking photos as well. If you want to be really accurate, again, you can just send them over to me, either in the one-to-one message thread we have or in the community group. So how to track. You should probably have picked this up by now, but you want to record all foods and drinks. Again, that's for the first 2 weeks, but even on days after that, when you are tracking, track everything ideally. You want to keep it as simple as possible, essentially just making sure that you're tracking the calories, but making sure that it isn't too much at the detriment of your day. And why does this matter? As I mentioned before, accurate tracking helps understand eating habits and make sustainable changes. This way it's going to work around your busy business life or busy high performance life, personal life with your family and your friends. We can actually get you to your goal quicker. And that's what we want. We need to rely on data before we do that though. So that was the second day, and that was tracking your intake. So the third day was, again, delving more into why tracking matters. So the key points were data-driven decisions improve nutrition. That essentially goes on from what I've literally just said. The more data we collect, that doesn't just include nutrition, that includes the health analysis we would have done on the first week, if you're one of my one-to-one coaching clients, that is. We want to make sure that everything is relying on data. So if we've thoroughly tracked for the first 2 weeks, we know exactly what your eating habits are like, and we know exactly what we need to do to improve, to change, or maybe not change that much. Maybe you're doing really well. There's just a few tweaks which need to be sort of changed. And that means that we can get to your goal quicker. I mean, that's what we want. And then the second key point was tracking enhances accountability and results. You can literally see the food you are eating. So if you're wanting to overeat, we'll go for a few pints on the weekend, or you're eating out, whether it's a business meeting, for example, with clients or with family, whoever it is, you know, and you can see in front of you what the calorie consumption is of that particular meal. Again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't just eat out and enjoy yourself. Obviously you should. We need to be sustainable. But it just makes you think about it a little bit more. So what are the benefits? As I mentioned, accountability, being aware of your intake can double weight loss efforts. And I've put weight loss there, but this can be any goal, whether your goal is fat loss, whether your goal is gaining muscle. We just know exactly where we are, and you can be accountable to that goal. And then the second benefit is trend identification. So recognizing patterns and make informed adjustments. And then the third benefit is food sensitivities. So we can discover how foods affect your body. Because you might find, and this happened with some of my other clients, one of my clients, he was someone who ate quite high carb lunches, quite high carb breakfast, and a moderate carb dinner. So he was having 3 meals which are relatively high carb, and he did this because he thought he needed the energy. Carbs provide energy, which they do. But the consequence of this was that he was having quite big spikes in his energy, along with all the caffeine intake as well. So what we did is we found that maybe we should go lower carb for breakfast and lunch, and save the carbs for the evening meal when you're winding down anyway. So what we did with him is we said, right, let's have some eggs in the morning, and then we're keeping the protein high, maybe with a protein shake as well, just to get the extra bit of protein. And then at lunchtime, we can have high protein meal, maybe like chicken, a bit of veg, and maybe a tiny little bit of rice, just so we've got some carbs in there, but quite low. What we found is that after 8 weeks of doing this, cutting the carbs down and saving the carbs for the evening meal, was that he wasn't having the energy spikes, because his body didn't have to break down all of those carbohydrates and have those sugar spikes either. So that was something which worked really well for him. So that's one of the benefits of tracking. And again, why this matters is it provides valuable insights for better nutritional choices, enhancing performance and well-being, and again, getting to your goal quicker. So that was the third day, why tracking matters. Fourth one was emotions and eating. So the key points were emotions significantly influence food choices, as we all know. If we're in a state of stress, if we're in a trait of feeling low energy, what do? We go to the cupboards, we have food, and we end up wanting to overconsume. If, again, you're being completely transparent and you're actually tracking everything, once you start tracking that in your phone or on your app, whatever you're using, you'll understand, right, that snack's got 450 calories in. Is that snack worth it when I don't really need it? Maybe not. It helps hold you accountable with your emotions. Also, it helps you reflect on emotional triggers and eating patterns. Emotional eating indicators include eating more when stressed, as I just mentioned before, eating when you're not even hungry, just maybe if you're bored on a weekend, you're not working. As we know, if you're a business owner, you're someone who is constantly working all the time, but when you do have a little bit of downtime, you think, right, now's the time to scram. Now's the time to raid the cupboards, which we've all been there. And the next one was using food as a reward or comfort. That one's massive with a lot of people. I didn't actually realize this until I became a coach like 10 years ago, how much people use food as a reward or comfort when something external happens in their life, whether that is with business or in personal life. They use food as something to make them feel better, which in turn they can overconsume, which in turn they put on more fat, etc., etc. So the action steps with that for that day were identify emotional triggers, track patterns in your food journal, and understand where these patterns lie in terms of what the meals you've had, in terms of how you've felt, and just keep a mental note of that so we can change that as the weeks go on if needs be. And why this matters, as I said, is understanding emotional triggers helps make mindful, healthier food choices, which work specifically for you around your goals, around your day-to-day lifestyle. So fifth day were connection to. The key points from that day were food journals, foster self-awareness and connection, pretty much just linking back to what I've just said, and reflecting on your diet without external judgment. This really helps you understand exactly what you are eating without other people sort of influencing you and without you going online and thinking about what's the best thing for me. You can see exactly in your food journal what you consumed, how it made you feel, and the progress that you're making. And I can see it as well. And next one was recognize patterns and emotional struggles. Again, going on from what I just said there before. And the benefits of that were develop self-insight and body awareness. You understand exactly how you feel after certain meals. You can visually see the progress you are making. And you know exactly how you perform in your training sessions as well after you've eaten certain meals, because you can see it. And then the next one, that it transforms tracking it into a positive exploratory task. It's a little bit of a fancy way of saying that you know exactly what you're going to feel like. You know exactly what you're going to achieve based on what you are eating. And why this matters is self-awareness leads to sustainable, informed health decisions, which is what I say to everyone. That's what I say to all of you, is that we need to make sure this is sustainable for the long term through understanding what works specifically for you. All right, next one were portion sizes. So key points, accurate portion sizes are crucial for weight management. As we all know, that's like dieting 101. To summarize, it was use hand portions for practical measurements. So protein, palm size, vegetable, fist size, carbohydrates, cupped hand, healthy fats around a thumb size. Portions by gender. I mean, the majority of my clients are male, but I do have a few females as well, so that's why I put this in. For men, it was 2 portions of each per meal. Women were 1 portion of each per meal. Obviously, this was a guideline, just a general guideline. It will be different depending on your goals, depending on your body weight, etc., etc., etc. So that was just a general guideline. And why do portion sizes matter? Pretty obvious. Proper portion sizes prevent overeating and ensure balanced nutrition. So in other words, we want to include foods which obviously you're not consuming on, leave you feeling satiated. In other words, you're feeling fuller for longer, so you're less likely to overeat at other points of the day, especially if you're someone who's really busy, whether you're running a business, whether you're trying to grow the business, whether you're with your family, whether you're with your friends. If you're eating sugary food, high-fat foods, they're not going to leave you feeling full, satiated. So we want to manipulate what foods we're eating throughout the day so you feel fuller for longer. And usually that's high protein meals. Higher protein meals make you feel fuller for longer. Higher fiber meals, and anything which is more of a complex carb, for example, like potatoes, rice, pasta, well, and vegetables and fruits, of course. All right, so that was the 6th day. That was the summary of the first week. Hope everything's going really well. Again, the main goal of the first week was to understand why you need to track your calories, starting to track your calories so we can see what your current eating habits are like, see how your body's reacting to it, and sort of analyze how you feel after eating certain foods and certain meals and how you are starting to progress. I know it's early in the first few days, in the first few 7 days, but we will start to see some progress soon and sort of understanding what portion sizes you need to have, what foods you need to have, and then as the weeks go on, that's when we can really rein that in and really put the plan together as what's going to work specifically for you around your day-to-day life towards your goal. Hope you enjoyed this summary video, and we'll see you next week.